Hey everyone, I'm the Monty Mole, and this is a dungeon guide for The Other Side on Mythic difficulty. In this guide, I'll be covering Covenant bonuses and all the boss's abilities. If you are looking for a specific fight, I will make sure to include timestamps in the description below for you to skip ahead. Anyone with the Night Fae Covenant will receive an extra bonus in this dungeon. If you see these jars, called Haunted Urns, you can break them, which will stun nearby enemies for 10 seconds. All you need to do is have the tank pull the adds towards the urn and then smash them. These jars have a very long range, so you can take full advantage of the stun without any hassle. Hakkar the Soulflayer is the first boss in this dungeon, and he has a few different abilities that we need to watch for. The first is called Piercing Barb, which will focus the tank and deal a chunk of physical and shadow damage. The second is called Corrupted Blood. This is a dot that will spread to other players if you are standing too close. So if he casts this on you, make sure you stay away. The main mechanic to watch for in this fight revolves around Blood Barrier and the Sons of Hakkar adds. Hakkar will spawn adds that will fixate on players, casting Blood Nova. This is an AoE burst that gets stronger every single time it's cast. When the ad dies, it will leave a giant black pool on the ground that slowly shrinks over 20 seconds. It will eventually resurrect the ad that you killed. At 100 energy, Hakkar will cast Blood Barrier, which does a big burst of damage and creates a shield equal to the amount of damage that he dealt. This damage also happens to include any damage it did to the adds that were still alive. So the goal during this fight should always be to focus down the adds and then swap to the boss. While Hakkar's Blood Barrier is up, he will be channeling Blood Barrage, which will spit out this rain of blood everywhere. Just DPS down the barrier and kick the cast to stop the channel. This fight is a bit of a DPS check, and it can become very intense if you get behind on killing adds. So try to mitigate as much damage as possible without being overrun. Up next, we have the Manastorms. We will face Millhouse first, while Maleficent annoys us with other abilities from her workshop above. Millhouse has a few different abilities we need to watch for. Power Overwhelming will summon a pink crystal that aims a beam at the boss. You need to intercept this. It will give you a damage buff, while also giving you a stacking damage debuff. If the debuff becomes too much to handle, then just trade places with someone else in your group. Millhouse has a long cast called Diabolical Doom. You can't kick or interrupt this, so instead what we need to do is use Echo Finger Laser Extreme. This ability will target two players, firing a laser in a Z-shaped pattern between them. Anyone caught in this path will get stunned, including Millhouse. So have the two players who are targeted position Millhouse in a line between the two of them. This laser beam also erupts with spikes after it goes off, so as soon as the cast goes off, step out of the beam's path. Lastly, Millhouse will cast Frostbolt on the tank. This can be kicked, so help out your healer and do that. After a while, Maleficent will jump down to fight, and Millhouse will jump up top. Her main abilities are Buzzsaw and Squirrel Bombs. Buzzsaw puts a stacking bleed on you, so use CDs or Vial of Serenity if you're a Kyrian. And Squirrel Bombs just need to be chased down and clicked to be deactivated. Lastly, Maleficent will cast Shadow Fury on someone, which does shadow damage and stuns anyone within 6 yards for 8 seconds. Just treat this like Echo Laser and run it into the boss to stun her instead. And that's pretty much the whole fight. It sounds like there's a lot to keep track of, but it's really pretty straightforward once you do it. Dealer Xy'exa is the third boss in this dungeon, and her mechanics all revolve around displacement traps. They are these shiny looking swirl things on the ground, and if you step in them, they will throw you up into the air. Xy'exa will place bombs on random players' heads that will explode and deal large damage to everyone in the group. So to avoid killing your friends, right before the bomb goes off, you need to step on a trap and explode the bomb in the air. The caveat here is that Xy'exa will also cast a large AoE explosion called Explosive Contrivance. And you guessed it, before this cast goes off, everyone in the group needs to step on a trap to avoid getting blown up. The boss will also summon Displaced Blast Wave, which is a simple beam that shoots out of a portal across the room. It's pretty easy to see, so just avoid getting hit by this. And then lastly is the Arcane Lightning debuff. This debuff stacks and will jump to the closest player every 9 seconds. So you need to spread out during the fight and try to drop your stacks before it jumps to you again. Otherwise it can become a little bit much to heal through. And that's the whole fight. Avoid the beam, step on the traps if you're bombed, everyone step on traps during Explosive Contrivance, and spread out. And you should have this down no problem. And finally, we have Mueh'zala. This is a really cool two-phase fight, and honestly feels like a 5-man raid boss. Our old buddy Mueh'zala is back, and he will assist us on this one. During phase 1, Mueh'zala has a handful of different abilities. He will cast Soul Crusher on the tank, which does a chunk of damage, and then applies that same amount of damage as a dot over 9 seconds. So if you have any mitigation, use it here. Cosmic Artifice is a dot that deals shadow damage every 6 seconds and drops an orb that explodes when it expires. We found the best way to deal with this was to just step a bit out of the way and drop it near a corner of the room. The boss has a huge hitbox, so we just made sure to leave the center of the platform free so we could move around to avoid Master of Death. Master of Death will probably be the main thing that will wipe your group. When he casts this, he will use his fists to perform 3 attacks on the platform. Both hands back means run out of melee, left hand back means run to the left, and right hand back means run to the right. If you get hit by this, it will do a ton of damage and place a dot on you, so it is vital that you dodge these abilities. At phase 2, Mueh'zala will start casting Shatter Reality, and Mueh'zala will come to our rescue and spawn a bunch of portals. Each portal will take us to a different platform where you will need to DPS down an ad and then click on a totem. Once the totems are destroyed, you will be ported back to the main platform to DPS the boss again. For every totem you kill, Mueh'zala eliminates 20% of the boss's health, and you will gain a haste buff. One thing to note is that you can't kill the same totem twice, so we had our healer go with a squishy DPS and had the tank and 2 other DPS take their own portals. And that's the fight. Rinse and repeat to kill the boss and get the loot. Thanks everyone for watching this guide. I hope it was helpful, and if you would like to see more of these videos, make sure to hit subscribe and follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Until next time guys, peace.